Hello everyone and welcome to SLR Tier 1. We are at Japan this week, and with me in the commentator's booth is none other than Mr. Ocean Chief.
Hello, Joel. Good to be back. Missed it last week, but had to go on a holiday. You know how it is.
So yes, the standings, as we were discussing before we went live, are pretty much sorted in terms of the top. How's it looking for Justin?
Yeah, so you got Justin with a big gap. Even though he missed 2 weeks there, it's still impressive that he's got what is that, just under 40 points. So he's 164 points in total. McKender, although he has been trolling a bit this season, he is still there, 127 points. Can never count them out, but we've only a few rounds left after this one, so it is getting a bit tight. For the title, looks like Justin is the favorite, but we do have Tuj in third with 110 points, and Danny Ko, who's only joined really after the mid-season point, already up to P6 on 76 points, and today with a good result could jump up further in the rankings. Over to the constructors, Mercedes, 233 points. But they don't have it all their own way. Red Bull are chasing behind with 168 points. So Mercedes again looking favoured for the constructors title, but not over just yet. There are lots of points on the plate for constructors. P3 Alpine 155 points.
Lovely stuff. And as the drivers come out for qualifying, a little bit about this track. Really, a really fan favourite track for these drivers. It's very exhilarating going through the first set, especially as the twists and turns of the S's. And yeah, not many hard braking zones, which can suit some drivers' style. Others, they may prefer the track we were at last week, for example, like Baku, where you really have to slam on the brakes into turn 1 and turn 3. But it's a bit more gentle here. You don't really need to use your brakes at all until you get to the second Degda. So you can really see how important it is to have a good setup around here. And yeah, the race on Wednesday was definitely very exciting, with all the cars bunched up very close together. So hopefully we'll get some more exciting racing just like that.
Yeah, it was a big feature in the Tier 2 race, that DRS train, and I think we're going to get more of the same today. Obviously, these guys are all very competitive, and it's very hard to break that 1 second gap and escape that DRS of the guy behind. So yeah, I'm expecting that today. But also what we saw in Tier 2 was one safety car, and that was enough for Keyboard Magnussen to go for a long strategy. He stayed out on old tires, took P1, and held up the drivers who went on to fresh tires. So effectively, he decided to race. The guy that got past him was able to win the race, and the guys who weren't able to get past, well, they were runners-up in that race, unfortunately.
Yeah, and just looking at the onboard of Justin as I was going to check out his lap, I can see raindrops, and quite a lot of them. So that will explain why almost all the drivers are out on track trying to set a lap. It's going to rain, and it's already started, and you can see the loss of grip through the top of the hill there for Justin. And the track is getting a bit more slippery as he goes round. It is really starting to rain quite a lot now, and he's on the softs, the dry tyres. And it's going to be difficult for anyone really to get a good lap in now. So it's going to be a one-lap shootout, and this is the lap that you have to make count as he's sliding through the hairpin and struggling to get on the power smoothly. DRS is now disabled, which tells us Inters are probably the faster tyre. But if they've done the first half of the lap on the softs, well, we'll have to see. I think the rain's probably come at a point where you could do a lap on Inters and maybe even beat this soft run once Justin's crossed the line. But of course, if it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, that's going to be no good at all.
Yeah, and look at the instincts of Justin to go out ASAP. He's the first guy to cross the line here. So if anyone's going to, profit from this dry run, it's going to be Justin. And we'll see how he does when he crosses the line. But yeah, Jamie behind, struggling, actually caught up to the guy ahead. Oh, and Justin
yeah, he was sideways through the whole of the last corner. He was just drifting through it, really. 36.9 Obviously, we're not sure how good these times are because we haven't seen people drive in these conditions. There was a bit of an incident there, something between Gula and Jammy. I wonder if Gula was ahead and had a bit of a slide, and you can see he's, well, 5 seconds back. So, pretty short. Justin has pole. Naiku is in second. Jammy is in third.
Yeah, Jammy got held up massively there with Gurley. He caught him mid-lap. Gurley's struggling in these conditions, but yeah, I think that held up Jammy massively there, and especially for the final chicane, you saw that. Yeah, so these guys obviously going to go back, put on the enders, I imagine. I'm surprised actually there's no one out there with enders on already.
Yeah, I think, the rain was probably started just before Justin started his lap. Well, they're saying that. Look, John Wick, is purple sector 2, apparently. So we'll see where he puts his car. It will be a fantastic lap, considering he's coming across the line a lot later and the rain has picked up since... oh my days. Yeah, in 8th position. Maybe not a purple sector 2.
We're definitely in the enders conditions, and this is the thing. This could go to full wet conditions. So really, this is it's going to be like, how do you time it so that you get the best out of the enders? Because obviously, the wider this track gets, the harder it's going to be to navigate. As Icewind is out. Did you catch that?
No, I think he retired in the pit lane. I was just watching Touge, who literally, it's just like a pendulum going around the hairpin. He can't keep it straight. I shouldn't laugh, but it's quite funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny to see these drivers who we see are very competitive. Even these guys struggling in these conditions, but obviously they're on the wrong tire effectively at the minute. All these guys coming in off this hot lap run. Tenari's one of them, also struggling through Spoon, missing every apex, and every time he touches that accelerator, the back end just wants to spin the car around.
Yeah, the rain came so late. Maybe you can actually beat your time on inters because it's going to be the faster tyre, because you get pretty much most of the lap on inter conditions, but they don't think that, obviously, because no one else is coming out of the pit lane. Otherwise they would have done straight away.
Someone was coming out of the pit lane there. I think it was McKender on wets, and he got disqualified in the pit exit lane. I don't know. I know if you slow down there, it will remove you from the session. So I'm not sure what McKender's up to, but his trolling continues. It seems as that everybody is switching on to these enders. Yeah.
Because Danny hasn't set a lap yet. He's on the intermediates. We will actually get to see the pace of these inters. Surely he's going to be the 156, at least from John Wick. And by getting a lap in, he's going to push himself up the leaderboard anyway.
Yeah, and I think this time at Justin's, it might just hold, it might have been enough. But Nikoi is a risk. We've yet to see how these inters perform, but we're about to see that as Daniko has started his run on these inter tires. So, flying through turn 1, turn 2, he didn't get a run in the dry conditions, so this will be his first taste of the track, and he has to make his way through these S's, which is precarious at the best of times. But in these conditions, he's doing quite well actually to keep the car under control, probably faster than I can do in the dry.
Yeah, sort of keeping it in control whilst it's not under control, if you know what I mean. You're sort of just letting it do what it wants to do and coaxing it through the corners in the general direction of the apex. Set to 1 purple on my screen at least. I could believe that as we go through the hairpin. And this is a difficult traction zone in the dry, let alone the wet, and you can see him taking the wide line there, whereas in the dry you probably hug close to the grass all the way through here.
And
difficult
Joel,
corner.
I have an interval time for Justin's first sector was 33.8.
Okay, I think this said 36 or something, so...
Yeah, so already this is going to be way down, and it's not going to be enough to beat Justin. I don't even think it's going to be enough to beat the top guys in the standings. Top 8 look like they, or maybe top 7 look like they're safe. John Wick though might be at risk.
Yeah, look how ahead, because Justin crossed the line now, on the 136, and he is going to go up to second place.
Ooh.
So there is some
Ooh,
merit in
nice.
going out on the inters. And of course,
Yep.
he had that big moment coming out of Spoon. So if someone gets a clean lap in, they got another 5/10 on that, maybe could jump themselves up into second place.
Yep, that's a very impressive lap from Danico Finzik, who is his teammate. He is a reserve today, but he's in this McLaren, so he looks like he's going pretty fast, I have to say. Sector 2 time came up there, looked pretty competitive alongside Danico, so let's see what he has got in the bag here on these interconditions. Looks like he's wrestling the car, but keeping it under control. And that goes P2, beats Danico by 2/10, roughly speaking.
So we can say Justin is safe, because I don't think anyone's going to find 3 seconds on that. Oh my days! Run cruiser has just flatlined the S's.
Yeah, that lap from Justin, I mean, obviously impressive because it's pole, but I think what was most impressive was he saw the conditions and thought, I'm getting out of here as soon as possible. The first guy out of the pit box by a long margin, and yeah, that really paid off for him as he made the most of what's the opposite of drying track? A wetting track?
Moistening.
A moistening, glistening track, yeah.
Dampening.
Dampening.
I don't think that's even a word.
We'll make it a word for now, yeah. We'll make it work.
Well, we are in No, we're not in Tokyo, but it's a bit like Tokyo Drift. Suzuka Drift.
Suzuka Drift. That's a game, isn't it?
Tokyo Drift is, yeah.
Tokyo Drift, there you go. We do have Skin Tony joining the session, I think. Whistle Will is his name in Steam.
I've just seen minus 4.5 seconds for Tunari, which would be a 40 point something.
Ooh, here we go. We're about to find out. Across the line he goes. 38.1. So that is P2. This track might be drying, and it might edge closer to Justin's time, so he might not be 100% safe. Rain looks like it's pretty consistent, but these tires do create a bit of a dry area, like a dry line in the track. So maybe if the drivers can get it right, maybe they could contest for pole. But right now, Tunari is the first of the losers, so to speak, in P2.
Christian up to 5th. John Wick had invalidated his lap, so he's going for another one.
Alright, I was just having a look at chat there. Nothing's happening in chat. What is going on with chat? Wake up!
Hopefully the race is dry. Well, don't know, maybe not hopefully. We will see. Something going on there in the S's. Whistle Will has joined.
Oh dear. Is he holding people up? I see an Aston out there going a bit slow. Who is it actually? Oh yeah, it's Gerla. I think Gerla is struggling in these conditions.
Hello, Justin.
Hey, there's Justin. Yeah, so maybe he will give us an update on the track conditions today.
Well, he's currently on a hot lap, so that would be freakish if he could do that.
You'd be surprised, man.
Surely he's not. Wait, 120 coming out of Spoon. That's not normal, is it? No, he's not on the hot lap. Oh, he's run out of fuel.
Oh, he's run out of fuel. Oh my word. That's interesting, isn't it?
Tunari's going again. Is recharged. And it's not much fun out there. I can't imagine in real life.
Tunari again.
Yes.
Again. Those 2 corners in a row. So
that might be the quickest way through that.
We'll find out. Actually, it's not too far off his sector 1 time. 3/10 down. So still could go faster this session if you're able to find a bit of time in Sector 2 and Sector 3. I mean, Sector 3 is essentially, what is it, like 2 corners or something? 3 maybe, if you count one for the R?
One, yeah.
Yeah, go count them out, Joe.
And if you count the last, you know, the little right turn before the end. Before onto the straight. Right
Come
turn.
on, bro. Come on, bro.
Well, they count that little kink in Austria as turn 2.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. I don't acknowledge that the existence of that kink as a turn. It is a kink, it's not a turn. Jeez, don't get me started. Oh, we have another racer joining. It's Noah. Another
He'd be
fast
good in these
competitive driver.
conditions.
Yeah, he's
in
no
his
time,
boat.
though. Not with all the animals on board, though. You know, might weigh him down a bit.
Yeah, well, something I always wondered, you know, in real life F1, surely when it's pelting it down outside, and because the crash helmets are, you know, made of solid material, obviously solid material, do you just hear, like, you're inside, like, you know, you're inside a building whilst it's raining on the roof? That's all you can hear. Pitter-patter on your head.
Possibly. I'm
and
watching
your suit
Canary
must get
here.
soaked.
Canary is going very fast again. Back end just wants to absolute murder him, but he's wrestling the car through every single turn, and I think he might be going for a second lap here.
He's got
on
no
these.
RS on.
Oh no! Yeah, he's pulling over here for the Ferrari behind. Yeah, so Canary session effectively over unless he's just storing up his ERS for a final run on those headers. Christian as well. Christian on the out lap here. Who we got on a lap? Danico on a lap in the first sector. So we should get a sector 2 time for him sector time for him pretty quickly. Oh, and the John Wick's out of the session. I think that might have been in the pits.
Yeah.
Danico 2/10 up in sector 1. So he's very tentative. Yeah, he's abandoned his lap here. So yeah, everybody's struggling hard here today. Noah is getting out on track. Is he going to make it in time though? He's just leaving his pit garage. There's 1:33 on the clock. That means he will not get round in time, ladies and gentlemen. He will be out of the session, but we'll have enough time to do some running in these conditions. So Speedy says stop kink shaming.
Good on a decent run. 5/10 up. Get himself into 8th place if he can find a little bit more time. 9th.
Yep. Jamie has just started his run here. He's, whoa, my word, what am I witnessing here? He's
well, he drives like this, and he drives like this in the dry. So I'm not surprised to see him almost bending backwards in the wet.
Yeah, he's not drifting quite as much as Tenare. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Tenare is P2 after all. But we're about to get a sector 1 time. He is massively up in his time. It's over half a second, which would actually contend for that P2 spot. And he's still got 2 sectors to go. And Tweedy is asking about the 1.2 second gap from P2 to P1. Everyone is too slow. You missed the start of the stream. It was a dry session at the very start. It immediately started raining, and Justin went out quickly and capitalized on that changing session. So that's why he was able to get that time on the board. It is much faster than everybody else right now.
Jamie is crossing the sector line just about now. 6/10, nearly 7 up, which would definitely put him in P2 position. And unless he can do something worldly and gain 2 seconds in the last chicane, he's going to stay in that P2 position.
Nice and tidy for the last chicane, and it goes P2, so that's a 37.8, beating Tenari by just under 3/10.
Here comes
Not
Naiku.
bad. Not bad.
Nike
Oh.
up to P3. Good for the Saubers.
Yeah, and quite a number of drivers still out there. Finzik on a lap. He was 5/10 apparently in the end of Sector 1. We're going to get Sector 2 time very soon. 0.6 is his gap that he's increased. Yeah, he's 0.6 up on his time. So, yeah, he might actually, he might come in P5. I think he's going to jump his teammate, Danico. Yep, there you go, P5.
And look at that.
So Danico P6.
Now it's just Wisso Wilt across the line. He may improve a little bit. Stays P11.
Noah has left us out grid. That's exactly the part where you don't want to leave a session, is like when we're crossing into the race. Could cause issues for him, but there you go, our standings. And look at that, yeah, you can see there's a story of quali. Justin on soft tires, at the 36.9, that was good enough to hold the pole position for the entire session. Jamie in the dying moments up to P2 to P3, and that's well, Naiko runs out the front row of the grid in P4 there. Yeah, Danico P6. McKender again did not qualify and will start effectively last in this session.
So we'll see the strategies as people select it. And it's raining! Just like the start of quali, it's dry. It looks like dry conditions, track conditions, but it is raining. So this game obviously forces you to start on the dries if it thinks it's not wet enough for inters, and vice versa. So we won't have some people on the dries and some people on the inters. They'll all be on the same, either slicks or wets. So we'll see as we get started what everyone is on. But yeah, I was going to say, in terms of the strategy, if it remains dry and this rain stops, it's usually medium hard. Everyone obviously has 4 sets of fresh softs too, because you didn't use them in quali. So there may be some opportunity to use them with a late safety car.
Indeed, yes. And Lars of the Red Hot Lovers, Tier 2 commentator. Yeah, he's bringing all the rain clouds, so it looks like, yeah, we're definitely going to get a wet start. Whether it finishes in wet conditions remains to be seen. We've had no intel this session. And sometimes I like that, the element of surprise and mystery.
I wish they added thunderstorms in it, like it could just big crash of lightning and thunder and then it just chucks it down like the most rain you've ever seen, and the track gets to full wet conditions in half a lap.
Yeah, I'd like to commentate that race, but not race in that race.
Okay, here we go. It looks like they're on slicks to me, so everyone's going to have to be very, very ginger going into turn 1. And Justin's on pole. He's on the medium. Let's get these up quick whilst we've got a moment. He's into turn 1. Touge started P3, trying to go round the outside of Jamie, who has had a decent qualifying with his teammate right behind. Touge on the softs. He's looking to get a fast start. The 2 McLarens going head to head as Finzik gets ahead of Danny, stays ahead of Danny from qualifying. Tunari side by side with Run Cruiser, Ferrari and Mercedes, and Tunari holds on to that 7th place. Going up the hill, round to the left, flat out here. They've got to be so careful as some cars have a bit of a loss of the rear end at the back of the grid. And now everyone on the slick tyres, they're going to have to be so careful going on these first few laps. We'll wait and see what's happening with the forecasters. Up the inside of the hairpin, Jamie had a little look, but it was too far back for him to make anything of it, to get back that 2nd place. Touge has had a brilliant start. I want to make the most of these soft tyres. Surprising that some people are on the softs to me. Maybe it says it's going to rain and the rain's going to pick up very quickly.
Yeah, we're going to move here. It's John Wick on Icewind. Icewind getting it wrong on the exit of Spoon. And Icewind able to hold that on the exit. And both drivers in an ERS battle now, seeing who wants to take position. Icewind takes it for now. So they will not be going side by side into 140R, which in these conditions would be, I think it would be a mistake. But yeah, lots of jostling for positions for the S's there in lap 1. We had a few driver changes. But yeah, I'm very interested in all these the tyre choices. you do have 4 drivers on softs, most on on mediums, and then 2 drivers, McKender and Noah, on hards. The fact that there's a driver on hards makes me think this session is going to dry out very soon, but I don't know. I mean, it's a very strange start to the session. It was a dry track with rain, and the rain is continuing to fall, so we'll see who has made the right decision here. Obviously, if it is going to go to wets, these guys on softs are in the best possible spot right now.
Yeah, because you wouldn't say you start on softs automatically. That's not really a viable strategy. They don't last that long as Danny gets past his teammate and Tunari tries to get back past Run Cruiser, and he does. So 2 overtakes by 2 cars into the first stage. No, you don't see too many overtakes there, but both opponents were slow to get out of the previous corner, and they had the run.
What?
Up the inside,
Yeah,
another team battle. Ferrari, Run Cruiser holds on to that position, getting the better traction on the racing line, the dry racing line on the outside, and Christian can't get past yet.
Yeah, and further back, Icewind and Gurla are now going at it. Looks like Icewind's getting up to speed as Gurla's back end gets loose, and that's a big mistake from him. That might cost him an exit. I think Icewind is looking to capitalize on that, but again, it goes down to ERS, who's going to use more, and Tenari as well, jumping in position there, I see in the standings. But Icewind up to P10. What a brave move for 130R there. He did not, playing a game of chicken there, and none of them chickened out. Thankfully, both survived, as Gurla is down to P11.
Justin slowly but steadily extending the gap. Here comes Run Cruiser, who is going to try on Finzik, who suddenly deploys some ERS and gets a lot closer to Tunari. So it's a battle here for P6 that's going all the way down to Christian.
Yeah, Finzik made a big mistake out of turn 2, I believe it was, heading into the S's, and that allowed Run Cruiser just to fly on by. So Finzik is struggling, even though he's on the best tire here right now. He is struggling. His back end just wants to murder him right now.
Oh! There's a Ferrari way off in the gravel trap. That's Run Cruiser. He won't have any damage, but he'll be last. That's not where you want to be. Justin has broken the DRS, and speaking of the DRS train, it is Tunari, who is trying desperately to get back in the group ahead, who are towing each other along.
Yeah, and the rain, is it getting heavier? I think it's just the same, isn't it? But the track does not seem like it's very wet right now.
Yeah, you can see a few specks of rain on the track when you go on board, but it's not anywhere near intermediate conditions. It's going to be important when people pit. That's going to decide quite a few positions, especially with everyone so close. It's going to be a battle of the strategy as Justin sets the fastest lap. He's 2 seconds almost ahead now, and Jammy is having a go on Touge, and he's having a go on him, and Touge can't do anything about that at all. He is back down to where he started. He started 5th, didn't he? So he's back down 1 place to 3rd. Maybe the soft's starting to go off a little bit.
Yeah, as we saw in the Tier 2 race, you know, a slower driver in front, and if you get stuck behind him, it's going to cost you a big time. And then by the time you get past him, the guy ahead has just pulled out a gap, and that's what's happening right now. 1.8 is a gap from Jammy to Justin. So Jammy, now that he's got past Touge, has he got the pace to rein Justin in? It's a big ask. The gap 1.9. We'll keep an eye on that, Joel.
Yeah, and Danny hounding the back of Naiku, pushing him through the middle sector, telling him to go faster. I don't want to be far behind this train as Touge and Jammy is kind of getting away and maybe breaking that DRS train in a moment. Yeah, Touge, you can really probably see the softs are going off now. The gap from Christian to Tunari 2 is almost opening out to 3 seconds. So whilst it was good strategy to begin with, he's sort of trying to pay back his way as Makenda has made a move. He's passed Gurla, and Icewind lost out to both of them. So a bit of a midfield battle going on as Naiku did get past Touge.
Oh, and look at this, Danico is lining up Touge for an overtake. He's got pretty much full ERS hanging on to the start-finish rate. and has only had to use a little bit of that just to get past two. So Danny Coe up to P4. Good move from him, and almost nudging the back of Naikai. He's got the Kick Starberg boys in front of him. So let's see how he navigates these two guys. It's very hard to pass unless you're on the start-finish straight, unless the guy ahead makes a bit of a mistake. And in these conditions, I think the potential for a driver to make a mistake are amplified massively. So yeah, Danny Coe's probably going to just sit behind here, harvest a bit of ERS, and see if Naikai or Jamie makes a mistake that he can capitalize on and get another position under his belt.
Out of all these cars, it looks to me like Danny has the best pace and is most likely to catch up to Justin. He's going to have to get past these two first. He's looking really rapid in a full battery. That's a good advantage of these sort of cross conditions where it is raining, so you can save a lot of battery, but you are on the slicks, so when you deploy it, it does make a big difference. But everyone's in the same boat, you just got to manage it well. Bit of a tank slapper on the exit there for Danny, and he won't be close enough to make the move. But he'll have DRS again, and Naiku may not.
Yeah, I think Naikai is going to get the DRS this lap anyway, but I think Danny Coe is going to employ a lot of ERS here to get this move done, and he has a lot to use. And you know who doesn't have a lot is Naikai. Naikai had three.
Oh, it's Danny! Danny's going to get both of them!
Into turn one, what a... Yeah, so that ERS came in massively.
Oh!
And he gets it wrong coming out of the turn two. And that's allowed Jamie to get past again, so that...
2 step forwards, 1 step back.
Exactly, yeah. All that hard work
Literally.
undone, but he wasn't going to get one move done. And now he just has to sit behind Jamie and do it all again, effectively.
Yeah, I wonder whether he was... oh, Jamie, Naiku, sorry, has gone off.
Oh dear. Yep, and he's dropped down a bunch of positions, but able to get back up to speed pretty quickly. So P6 for Naikai. Yeah, I was just going to say, Justin has profited from that little incident from Danny Coe. 2.8 was the gap there, heading into the hairpin.
Yeah, and you know, you don't want to give Justin any more of a gap than he gets himself. He's very consistent, and he won't give you an inch. You have to make the running, and you have to catch him. He won't drop back to you. Tunari getting past Touge, who continues his slide back down the field, back to where he started now, in 5th place, and Tunari only 1.1 seconds behind Danny and this second group of cars as he sets the fastest sector 2. He's looking like he's ramping up the pace after being slow in the early laps. He's really starting to speed up, and he had set the fastest lap.
Yeah, Jamie got a tank slapper coming out of the final chicane there. That's like Danny Coe to pick up the position effectively without using any ERS. And just DRS. McKender getting up to speed, 36 flat is the time from him. And I tell you what, Joel, one thing we haven't pointed out recently, the rain has stopped. This is now a dry track. So
yeah,
these guys, yeah,
really doesn't help Christian or Touge. They're going to have to go as long as possible, so they'll probably go onto the hards from now to the end if they wanted to, if they took care of them. So it's not such a bad situation, but they have lost time from where they started, from going with this strat.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, that Tunari overtake was very important. It was crucial, wasn't it? Because he didn't want to get stuck behind Touge on those soft tires as they begin to fall off. And Tunari now in the DRS trend to P2, so I think as long as he can keep in with Danny Coe might just drag him towards Justin. McKender as well, looking pretty good on those hards. He will be heading on to mediums for the final phase of the race, so the fact that he's only 4 seconds behind, okay, maybe 5-6 seconds behind Danny Coe, that's pretty impressive, and he may come into play for the win towards the end of the race.
Yep, plenty of laps left, over 20 of them remaining. But Danny is closing in on Justin slightly, as Justin sets the fastest lap, and Danny was faster that time round. He beats him to the post. 2.3 is the gap.
Christian is the first off runner in the pits, so Gerla was lining him up for an overtake there, but he didn't have to do it on track. Christian is the first guy to pit, and he's put on medium, so that would indicate maybe he's going for a 2-stop.
Yeah, I think it would have to say that unless he's a tyre-saving wizard. Shinari really close to Jammy now, who has dropped back a long way from Danny. 1.6 the gap between those two. And he is struggling a bit, Jammy. Maybe his aggressive driving style, maybe taking a bit too much out of these tyres perhaps, as Shinari really can get past whenever he chooses. At the moment he's got 60% ERS, same as Jammy.
I was looking at the back end of the grid as well. Surprised to see Icewind in the last position. Right now he's struggling out there on those hard tires. He had pitted actually. Yeah, didn't notice that. Finzig as well had pitted. Noah has not been able to take control of his car, so he's effectively AI at this time. And Christian, who we just saw pit for those mediums, P13. So something happened to Finzig and something happened to Icewind, as Justin does take back. Oh, and it's a battle for fastest lap here as Naiko enters the fray and takes the fastest lap by just as slim as the margin. But yeah, Justin and Danny trading fastest laps here.
As Tunari gets past Jammy pretty easily on the start-finish straight with DRS, then he's released up into P3, see if he can chase after Danny now.
Yeah, so Tanari has to catch Danny, Danny has to catch Justin, and then we can count out McKender on those hards. As Icewind sets the fastest lap on hard tires, so he's definitely got pace, Icewind, but unfortunately he's back at P14 and long way away from points at this time.
So a third of the way in the race, Justin's got it in his control at the moment, but Danny seems to be the fastest car on track, followed by Tunari. And we're coming up to that point where people will start to think about pit stops onto the hard tyres, maybe in the next 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, I think lap 12-13 seems to be the preferred strategy for the medium hard pit window. And yeah, I think, you know, looking at Tanari, he's obviously going to have a hard time reining in Danico and Justin, but if Danico can get near Justin and they start battling, that will play into Tanari's hands. As Justin sets the fast lap once again, it's tumbling down as Danico, then it's Tanari. Tanari, the fastest guy on track, as it stands. McKender up to P6.
Touge in the pits, the latest to get rid of those softs, and he also goes on to mediums. So, unless he probably thinks he can't get the hards to the end then, I'd imagine. Which is interesting. We'll see how that strategy plays out. Unless there's rain forecast for later in the race.
Ooh, Christian, fastest lap there. That's on the medium tire, so he has fresh mediums on. Run Cruiser pitted there. Comes out effectively last, but on hard tires. So quite a lot of guys still to pit here. But they're starting to come in thick and fast, and we think, yeah, these medium guys on 9-lap old tires are going to come in and run. It could be this lap, it could be the next lap, but I think 12-13 is the aim, as Run Cruiser almost losing it in the S's there on the curbs.
Yeah, I do wonder whether there was rain forecast relatively soon. It might explain why Touge went on to the mediums and not the hards. Just a bit of speculation, especially if these medium runners stay out beyond their pit window. That will certainly be an indicator. Jammy is still all over the back of Tunari, who hasn't managed to break a gap at all. And it looks like he's going to be overtaken pretty easily here. He's not using ERS because he's resigned to his fate, and he's going to be back down to 4th position.
Yeah, and they don't want to battle too much. They don't want to cost themselves too much time. But if they play it smart, they can use this tactic, work together, and try and catch the guys in P1 and P2. But yeah, Danico 2 seconds behind Justin. That gap's pretty much stabilized at this point. And Jamie in P3 just falling back a little bit. not too far off Tenari and Jamie actually. So the fact that Jamie and Tenari are kind of battling a little bit has allowed Naiko to catch up. Mikander as well is reining in that gap. It was 4 seconds before, 3.4 now. And he's not too far away from the lead, you have to say. And the fact that he's going to go on to these medium tires at the end when everyone else will be in hards, that's going to be interesting, Joel.
Yeah, just thinking about Danny, whether he can try the undercut. I think if he was to pit now, he'd come out between Gula and Makenda. Maybe a bit further down than that, actually. But there are quite a few gaps over 3 seconds down the field, so he wouldn't be in traffic. It might be an option if he wanted to try and close the gap. Tunari's just as close as Jamie was on the last lap to him, but the roles are reversed and he should be the one to get past. In fact, Jamie comes into the pits, he's the first one out of the top runners.
Yep, Tenari taking P3, was able to get DRS for the start-finish straight, even though the guy had pitted. Jamie coming out, where is he going to come out? Looks like it will be... Will it be behind Joe McIntosh? It will be. Is he going to get ahead of the Ferrari of Christian? I think that will be the case. So Jamie coming out with traffic, and that's going to be interesting. If Tenari has a crew chief, he could potentially feed that information back, but I don't know if there's much Tenari can do about that. He is going to have to pit very soon.
Yeah, and
so
it's
Jamie...
not... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I've lost it now.
Sorry. I was saying it's not really traffic because Touge is on fresh mediums as well and he's going quickly. So I think Gennaro will just be losing time if he stays out. Danny, though, looking at where Jamie came out, will for sure be between the two Astons, if not ahead of Gula, so he will have a gap if he wants to pit.
Yep, so we've got Justin in Sector 3. I think we're going to find out very soon if any of the top 4 guys are going to pit on this lap. I can't... Oh Danny. Yeah, Justin in the pits. Danny Koo follows him in. Tenari as well in the pits.
Oh, Justin's had an issue there, I think, on the pit entry. He lost a bit of time visually. We'll see if the gap's any smaller when they come out.
Mikander assuming the lead of this race, so going to be interesting to see when Mikander pits. He always does weird pit strategies, even when he's in a good position, so I wonder if he's going to go for something weird today, like going the softs at the end, or...
Touge and John Wick going side by side, just behind where Danny re-emerges, and you can see that gap is down to 1.1 seconds now between Justin and Danny, so Justin did have some sort of an issue in the braking zone coming up to the pit entry. And Danny's not too far away from getting DRS, which would be a big bonus.
Yeah, and I think the biggest winner there was Touge. Look how much he's jumped up with that big undercut, but he is on the medium tires, so they will drop off much sooner than these hard tires will drop off, so he's got to make them count right now.
Jamie, so close to John Wick, who hasn't pit yet. He's on the mediums he started on. So he'll be wanting to get past as quick as he can, as Wisso Will is the first to get a 3-second penalty. Into Spoon.
Imagine getting a penalty in Suzuka, Joel.
I know, it's like... It's awful. No one gets penalties in Suzuka. Especially if it's cutting the same corner in 3 consecutive laps.
Takes skill, I hear.
Exactly.
Oh, John Wick and Jamie going side by side into 130R. Very brave move there from Jamie. It looks like John Wick is fighting this. Actually, sorry, it's Jamie fighting this. John Wick gets run out onto the curb and loses 2 positions due to that move. So Jamie and Tenari fly by. P5 and P6 for Jamie and Tenari. And actually, Tenari takes P5 on the run down to start finish rate. So I believe that was with the use of ERS, because both drivers had DRS open. John Wick, the biggest loser there, but obviously on these older tires is gonna struggle in this phase of the race. Yeah,
and Justin has extended that gap back to where it was before, almost 1.8 seconds, as Danny has to worry about Touge behind, who's on faster tyres. So yeah, Makenda, be interesting to see his strategy. Is he going to pit for the mediums later, or is he going to go really long, hope for a safety car? If not, pit for the softs. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll keep an eye on that gap of 11 seconds. The pace difference shouldn't be too much, if nothing at all really, between Justin, Danny and Makenda, because the hards are basically take the same pace throughout their life. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Actually, Joel, I've been watching that gap from P1 to P2. It has come down considerably. So I think Makender is better pitting sooner rather than later. The hard tire pit window for mediums, I think optimally would be what, maybe this lap or the next.
As Touge is going to make a move in a bit, Christian manages to stay ahead of Naiku. There's John Wick hits. Yeah. It's Touge under 2/10 from Danny, but not close enough to take the position. Nearly 3 seconds that gap now to Justin. Justin really putting his pedal to the metal and pushing on forwards in this race towards Makenda.
Icewind as well, he's back in the points somehow, so all those pit stops playing out. He's back up P9, Joel, so he's got himself back in the points, which is good to see because he was in last position not too long ago.
And up the inside as Danny takes a wider line. I tend to take a wide line through that corner. You get a lot of that, people up your inside on the exit. But it's not slower. In fact, on the exit you're quicker because you've taken an optimal line. Someone's off. Yeah, is it Run Cruiser?
Yeah, Run Cruiser. It's the second Degner, I think that was the exit there. So he's either run out wide or he's had some kind of issue there, and the tires look like they're overheated as he's struggling on the exit of the hairpin. John Wick is not too far behind, so he'll be happy to see that red Ferrari ahead. Give him something to aim for.
I'm not sure there's much Danny can do here. He's going to be passed by Touge. With the DRS, he's going to sail past and hop back onto the racing line to take turn 1 as quick as possible.
Yeah, and what was the gap between Danico and Justin? Wasn't it around about a second? And now it's like almost 4 seconds. So Justin has came out of the pits and been pretty much nailing it on these hards. And Makender does stay out longer than anticipated, so I think he may well go 2 mediums on this lap. If not, it's going to be soft tires. And I don't know, like 10 laps in softs. I suppose it is doable, but we may see Makender pit on this lap for mediums as Christian gets a time penalty. That's P8 and P7, both with 3 seconds.
Yeah, I think when Makender pits, he's going to re-emerge into this battle with Touge, Danny, Tunari and Jammy. That's Run Cruiser having another issue in the first sector.
Yep, and Makender stays out for another lap, so interesting strategy from him. He's obviously committing to whatever strategy he's picked. Danico just about keeping within DRS range of Touge. So Touge on these mediums right now looks like he's very pacey, and that might suit Danico just to sit behind him and get dragged up a little bit. But I mean, that gap from Justin to Touge is 3.5. That's quite the mountain to climb as we head into the final part of this race.
Yeah, I just wonder, I think Makenda's probably going for the win. Late safety car, comes out second, maybe third place on a fresh set of softs, and if everyone pits, obviously he'll be in the lead. So Makenda's probably not interested in a third or fourth, fifth place finish. He'll risk finishing outside the points to get a potential win, perhaps. We'll see. Jammy is staying on the back of Tunari. He's doing well. But yeah, as you said before, this DRS train really hard to make an overtake when you're in this DRS train. And the guys at the front just keep swapping positions every lap on the main straight.
Yep, and Icewind, he was in the points. He's now P14 again. He's put on fresh mediums, and I saw he got a front wing change there as well. So I wonder if he got that. Oh, and oh my word, Whistle Will was coming back on the track there, and Icewind just narrowly avoided a big collision coming out of Dunlop corner, but no harm done for now. McKender staying out again, Joel.
Yeah.
He must be going to sauce. He has to be.
Danny closing on the Alpine of Touge as Christian has retired in the pit lane, even though he was in the points. So I don't know why that is.
Yeah, that is interesting. He could still get a point. I mean, John Wick was quite the way behind, so for whatever reason, Christian is out of the race, so that allows John Wick to pick up that P10 spot and potentially pick up a couple of points in this race. Gurla doing well in the other Aston in P9, not too far off Finzik, but then it's pretty much big gaps all the way to this DRS train for P3. And Justin looks like he's pretty comfortable out there as Whistle Will picks up another time penalty into the pits. So that's probably a retirement, and it is indeed. We're down to 13 drivers, effectively 12, because Noah has not been able to rejoin and take control of his car. It is starting to heat up there, this battle for P3. Danny Coe now looking pretty good for an overtake in the start-finish straight, so he just has to navigate the chicane and try to nail the exit as the car gets a bit funky under the heavy braking there. And is this going to be enough? The gap is...
Oh! Tunari!
Oh.
You can see him in the background there. He's just gone straight on at that corner that's just a kink. Danny not able to get past Touge. Tunari will definitely have damage. And there's another car parked off there. I believe that is the retired AI car of Whistle Will. So nothing else going on at the moment.
Yeah, so that's interesting. The fact that Tunari has damage, and that was quite a heavy impact, because quite a lot of his wing is missing, and that is terrible. This phase of the race, he is P7, but he's obviously going to have to pit or fall down the order and fall out of the points effectively. So, yeah, anything can happen here at Suzuka. These curbs can be very precarious, and yeah, we're down to 3 then for this battle for P3. It's Touge, Danny Coe, and Jamie, with Naiko lurking in the background, but with that time penalty to his name, that's going to weigh him down somewhat.
Mikenda stayed out again. Yeah, Danny in... now, I just wonder... No, it's not... You won't be able to do a no-stop because you never actually used the inters, did you? So... Even though it was raining at the beginning, it doesn't count as wet conditions, so you still have to make a mandatory pit stop, I think. If not, then McKenda's pulled an absolute blinder on the field. As
That's
Danny,
an interesting one, yeah.
Danny,
sorry, go ahead.
Up the inside, it's 3 wide. Touge been overtaken by 2 cars, and Jamie swoops by from 2 places behind to get himself into the last podium position.
And that was a move and a half, as we see another move. It's Tunari falling down the order. He's in the pits, Finzig up to P7, but Finzig loses that immediately as Gurla gets by. Finzig and Gurla are going at it. And yeah, that was a move from Jamie, I have to say. Danny Coe was fighting that hard, and Jamie pulled it off. He's up to P3 for now, so yeah, some good racing there as Icewind taking the fastest lap of the race on those mediums. And look at that, Tunari, that's how much the pit stops hurt him with that front wing change. P12 he comes out, and not too far away from points. He still has a chance of points, but they're not going to be many today, unfortunately. Tunari actually coached me for this race, you know, not this race, but Japan, Tier 2. And the best he could say was, I guess it's not that bad. When talking about my driving. But look at this, Joel, we have it finally. He's in the pits. It's lap 20. across the line is now like 21 in fact, and he puts on mediums, so that's interesting. Why would you run so late and then put on mediums? Surely softs would have been the preferred tire, but yeah, so it looks like he's going to come out P6, I believe, Joel, but he's going to be way off the leader, so he may still contend for a podium spot here, but I think the winds abated him for this one.
Yeah, he might just get past Naiku. Other than that, I think that's that. I don't think he can catch another 5 seconds up to Touge. So it's between Danny, Jamie and Touge for the last podium position.
Yeah, I don't know about Touge though. On those old mediums, Joel, they may start falling off. I mean, lap 12 is the optimal pit window for mediums, so I don't know, maybe 13, 14, but he's got to get to 18 laps on those mediums. That might be a big ask from Touge. We will see, we will find out as we now are entering the final phase of this race. Justin is comfortably in the lead, controlling this race. Has to be said, we haven't even shown him much on screen because of it. But yeah, it's all about this battle for P2 as it stands. And also there is a battle for P7 and P8. Gurla and Finzig still going at it here. But Finzig on these older hard tires, I have to say Gurla definitely has the upper hand.
Naiku, yeah, he will be P6, even with his penalty, because he's got a 10-second gap back to these two. See if Danny is any closer. He's a bit closer, but they've already made it through turn 1. No change of position yet. It's getting a little darker in the sky.
Gurla going for the move again on Finzig, so lined it up nicely, saved up a lot of ERS for that. And yeah, looks like Gurla does have the upper hand here. It's just impossible to get that gap over 1 second once you make the move. But I mean, oh, and Tenari, Icewind creating fastest lap. They have the fresh tires on, apart from McKender, of course. Surprised McKender didn't pick up that fastest lap. Oh, maybe that's because his last lap was an out lap. That might be why.
That would be a fast lap.
I swear my in laps are faster than my quali laps. I swear. But yeah, McKender catching up quickly in Naika. He's using a bit of ERS here just to get within the DRS window, and then he potentially could make this move without the use of his ERS, which is quite low at the minute. So he's used it all to rein in Naika and effectively get this DRS. I don't know if he's going to get the move done in time for turn 1. He's using whatever ERS he has left. DRS now open, and yeah, I think Naika's going to let this happen. They're going to go side by side for turn 1 though.
Oh, Naiku tried to turn back onto the racing line a bit too early. McKender's rear wheel was still there. Thankfully he realised the last minute, and it's no harm done. So he's just got to hold on now, Naiku. With his penalty, he will come home P6.
Yeah, so the gap we'll keep an eye on is 5.3. That's P5 to P4. Touge will struggle on those old tires, but the fact that he's in that DRS train will help him save his tires a little bit.
Naiku having a bit of a moment there out of the second Digner under the bridge. So Danny looking to get this second place. Touge is doing well to hold on to them with DRS considering his tyre situation.
Further back, Joel, Gurla has got that gap over 1 second to Finzig, just about. It's 1.1 heading into Spoon, so good to see from Gurla. It should help him secure that P7, and he's 11.5 behind Naiko, so really needs Naiko to make a big mistake in order to capitalise on the fact that Naiko has that 3-second time penalty.
See if Danny can do anything. He's 5/10 back, and Jamie's breaking the slipstream and deploying ERS, so he's not going to give Danny a sniff. So 3 laps remaining, and he'll probably be plotting, Danny, how he can get past. It looks to me like he's going to have to do it in a corner because Jammy is managing his ERS very well and deploying it all on the home start-finish straight.
Yeah, and I think if it finishes as it stands, I think this is the race where Justin just solidified that title. He's going to have a massive extension in his points with full 25 points added. Obviously, the race is yet to finish, but it's hard to see how he's going to lose out right now. And there's only 3 races remaining, so I think this is it. I mean, he's pretty much stomped his name all over that title, Joel, and you can see why he is the title. He is leading the title charge right now.
Yeah, clinical. Pole, win, easy. See you next week.
He does make it seem easy, and he did say before this race he had to switch to his old wheel as his new wheel wasn't working, so had to go back onto the old trusted G29, and it seems like even that inconvenience has not stopped his charge, as he looks like he's going to dominate this win in Japan, and under very difficult conditions as well, has to be said.
Yeah, and he got the strategy perfect in qualifying, going out at the start of the session before anyone else and getting a lap that was unbeatable, and in the race too, keeping it simple, medium to hard, build your gap and break away at the start whilst everyone's squabbling behind you. Makes it seem like, what's everyone else doing? Come on.
Exactly, yeah. He's just on it. He's on it this season, and it's paid off big time. Even with a 2-week hiatus, he could afford it. Not many drivers could. Tenari up to P9. Wow, he is coming back into the points after that earlier incident. So John Wick now to P10. Gerla extending that lead over Finzig, so has secured P7 for now. Has to be said, McKender, oh, we got a yellow flag in the S's. I think that's an Aston and it's the guy I was just talking about, John Wick, having a big issue, and that means Icewind up into the points. Run Cruiser might take that 10th position though, with Icewind's time penalty. So still a lot to play for, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, this gap from McKender to has been coming down, but not fast enough. We're running out of laps for McKender. 2 laps remain, and he might just catch him on the last lap, but I think it might be too little too late. And I'm sure the guys in this DRS train from P2 to P4, they've all been saving up that ERS for this final lap lunge. Danny Coe 100% ERS, Touge is 90%, and Jammy also around about the 90% mark. So yeah, all pretty much equal on their ERS, although Danny Coe with a slight advantage there.
Yeah, it's one more chance really on the start finish straight. The line's so close to the final corner, you don't really have a chance to overtake coming up to the finish line.
Yeah, McKender gap 1.6, and we've got John Wick is out of the session in the pits. Calls it a day. Unfortunate to see. Had a lot of pace here. We saw that in Tier 2 race as well. But decides not to complete this one. Retiring on the penultimate lap, and yeah, McKender trying desperately, using all his ERS, but he's not going to get DRS for the final lap. So if he's going to do an overtake, it has to be on track without the aid of DRS.
Here's Danny's best chance so far, is he has DRS, he's using overtake, but no doubt Jammy is too. But he is closing. Is he closing enough? Yeah. He is. He's left the outside open. You really want to defend the outside into turn 1 because you can swoop around the outside like that. And Danny is up into second place. And Jammy is going to have to pull off something very impressive to get that back before the end of the race.
Yeah, and that was impressive from Danny Coe. He reacted to Jammy's ERS usage. Jammy felt he could come off the overtake and save a little bit for later in the lap, and Danny Coe's one, he saw that and he pounced. And yeah, it's all going to come down to that back straight, I think. Danny Coe has a lot of ERS saved as well, so He will be able to use that to protect this position. It looks like P2 is going to go to Danico as it stands. McKender has not been able to close up on these guys. And Touge is held in there in P4 on these old tire 17 lap old mediums. He is he's done just enough to keep on to this position. Doesn't look like he's going to contend for the P2 or P3 spot. But on the old tires, P4 finish is going to be very tasty. As Justin is about to cross the line. We haven't shown much of him on screen, Joel, but he's about to do it.
Jammy has a tiny chance as Danny goes a bit deep. What can Jammy do on the exit? He's too far behind. Yes, dominant win from Justin. A good race from Danny, who comes home in second place. Jammy and Touge, who you have to say has done very well to get those mediums, 18 laps, and he finishes in fourth place with McKender in fifth.
Yeah, interesting race. We had all sorts. No safety car, but we did have very strange conditions at the start of the race. A dry track with rain, and everybody going for the dry tires. And that seemed to be the best call, I have to say. I was starting it at one point, but I am left again wondering what would happen if McKender had qualified and also pitted a bit earlier. It looked like he was catching those guys nicely, but he just ran out of time. McKender is the driver of the day as voted on by the game, but I don't know what we're gonna say about that. I have to say Touge impressed me massively there. I think that early pit stop, it enabled him to stay in this P2 DRS train, and in the end pick up that P4 spot just behind Jamie in the final podium paying position. McKenna, of course, making up the most spots, P15 to P5. Gurla as well, big shout out, 10, qualified 10th and finished the race in P7. Tenari as well, having issues. He could have well been on the top steps of the podium, maybe not P1, but potentially P2, P3, but that incident in the last chicane there, P9 is the best he could do. Icewind just finishing outside of the points. That time penalty did hurt him. He was P10 on track, but that time penalty dropped him down to P11.
Yeah, interesting race. A lot of strategy going on. Justin is the winner. Sixth place for Danny to finish in second is a good run for him, but I think it probably has to be McKenna for driver of the day, starting 15th. What do you think? So, anyone with interviews, please come to the interview channel. We've got Icewind.
Please.
So get him in.
Please.
Hello, Icewind.
Hello.
Hello. Chief, you normally do the questions because I don't really know.
It's bring your own questions day. You have to
question.
Drivers? No. Icewind, how was it for you? It looked like you had some pace out there, but I know Japan, very tricky track. We did see you pit at one point for the front wing change. Yeah, just tell us about your race.
Yeah, I was pretty disastrous with the setup. My front right tire was about 15 degrees too low the entire race, so there was just no grip into the sections where you have to attack like spoon and to an extent on also in the S's. It was just so a huge disaster, that setup. I wasn't really gonna drive, but then I figured it's Suzuka, 15 minutes to the race, I might as well just jump in. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I could not have driven those tire pressures in the LOR race that I did previously in the year. But yeah, that definitely didn't work at all. But yeah, it was Suzuka, so I figured I'll just give it a go. I guess I beat Noah's AI, so yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Yeah, there's that. I was going to ask about the start of the race. That looked like a tough choice for you guys. You know, obviously it was raining, but the track was dry. Was it a no-brainer for you to just go, right, no, it's dry tires? Or was there part of you thinking, maybe inters?
No, but the thing is, you cannot take inters there at the start because the game forces you on the slicks, and you cannot take inters even if you would want to do that.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
Just
I
like I
think
described.
it was just about maybe slick tires at the start there, so I don't think it would have been worth going on the inters at the start. Might have been faster for 2 laps or something, but I think that would have been it.
Right.
Having said that, the softs were a major mistake. They were absolutely dreadful in about 3 laps. 25% wear in 3 laps or whatever it was. So then that was a huge disaster and no no pace at all. But I think like the main issue was just there was just no tire temp in that setup that I was running, and that was just my own fault. No practice at all. So I haven't even fired the game up in I don't even know 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. So yeah, but Suzuka is always nice to drive, so I decided to give it a go. I think there was some taps and stuff in the race with Finsick, but where I actually destroyed my own front wing, like tapping him at the back into the hairpin, but luckily just took my own front wing off, so only my own race was ruined by that.
Yeah, and it seemed like one of those races where if you have an issue, it's going to cost you dearly, as we saw with Tenari as well. Having a issue with his front wing, and then it just effectively pulls you right out of the race. But always got that P10.
So that's what happened to him.
Yeah, but you almost got P10 Icewind. I was cheering you on there, but it wasn't to be today.
Yeah, I had a penalty, which was the problem there. So I just figured out to just try and race like Cruiser, Run Cruiser, whatever his name is nowadays. Anyway, but yeah, just I think I had one chance to drop him out of DRS the first time I overtook him, but then I made a mistake out of Degner too, and that kind of let him catch up again. And yeah, that was kind of it. There was might not have happened anyway, but yeah, at least got some racing in that race. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it is what it is.
Had some fun. Difficult conditions. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
impressive stuff from you guys. Once again, I have to say though, like the fact that Justin went out so early in that qualifying session, and got that time on the board when it was, it was just crossing over from dry to wet. That was a good call from him.
If
I
only
mean,
I didn't invalidate.
oh, were you out
'Cause
as well? Yeah.
I was right behind him, but I invalidated.
Ah,
I
okay,
don't think
okay.
it would have been enough for anything good anyway. I was started planning to start at the back either way, so
Yeah.
it was okay. But yeah, main problem was the tire temp, and because the tires were 10-15 degrees below the optimum temperature, especially the hard, there's just no like it feels like you don't have any force feedback at all in the wheel when it's
Yeah.
like that. And I took the mediums at the end after I destroyed my wing, and it was a little bit better on those. I think the front was only like 7 or 8 degrees off, so it wasn't that bad, but it was still not great. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well.
I've taken up enough of your time, so
Yeah, we will move on to we've got Justin waiting in the wings, but good to see you on track again, and we'll hopefully see you again on track soon enough.
we'll see.
Okay. And that is Icewind. So yeah, we will quickly drag in Justin Ertz. I think I said that correctly. Correct me
You've
if
got to
I'm
say
wrong.
in a French
Um,
accent.
that's asking a bit too much.
Just
Yes.
That's criminal.
Oh god, oh god. What a way to start off an interview. Let's just say, let's restart it. Congrats, Justin. Pole and the win, and it looked like you had everything under control under difficult conditions, has to be said. I was particularly impressed with how quickly you went out in quali. You seem to be the guy that realized the quickest that you had to get out there and get a lap in. Because it was changing so rapidly, and yeah, I think halfway for your lap, the DRS disabled, but you were able to get that time on the board, and that was enough for pole. I mean, Is that how did that feel for you to pull that off?
You cut out at the end. I don't know what you.
Oh, I was just asking how it felt to pull that off.
Well, like you said, it was very had to be first, had to get out there as soon as possible. I saw as soon as we loaded in that the first slot was a +0 minutes and then a cloud with little raindrops underneath, so I knew it would rain any second. I didn't even do any qualifying changes to my setup like I normally do with wings and tires, stuff like that. I just went out and luckily, yeah, like you said, when just as I was entering the final sector or sector 2, the DRS turned off and it was actually good enough barely because I did an inters lap at the end. I was about 2.5 seconds off my delta in sector 1, but by the end of the lap I was only I think 5/10 off, so it was really touch and go for being good enough, and yeah, in the end it was.
Yeah, that was solid, and it really counted for the race as well because you started P1 and then you just pulled away, and it looked like you controlled the race from that point onwards. Was there any part of the race where you were feeling the heat a wee bit, or did you know you had this under control?
Well, I don't know if you saw my chat, but my old wheel, my old Fanatec, kind of blew up yesterday, so I had to go for the G29 today with pretty much no practice. So it might have looked simple, but it was, yeah, no, it was learning every single lap. But yeah, no, it's like riding a bike. Once you do it once, and you just stop doing it for a while. As soon as you pick it back up, you might stumble for a few times, but then after it's like nothing happened. But yeah, the race itself, like you said, it was very. It looks simple, but yeah, it was nice to finally be able to have a big gap and not have a safety car ruin it, like Canada and Monza did. It's one of those races where you cross the line, don't even celebrate, you just clap your hands, and you're like, job done.
Yeah, you definitely made it look easy, but like, yeah, you were saying, and I did bring it up in stream, the fact that you had to switch back to an older wheel. Although I have to say, you've probably done and won many races on that older wheel. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
like you say, riding an old bike, the trusted old faithful wheel still works, which is good for us and obviously good for you. I mean, I always do this, Justin, but I think now is a really good time to do it. We talk about the title. It
oh
looks
good.
like you have cemented that. I mean, you were heading into this race, even with that 2 week break, you had a massive gap still. But with this win today, I think this pretty much seals the deal. It has to be said. We will get the guys working on the standings later,
Well,
but
who
yeah,
was
I mean,
second? Who's second in the
McKender.
championship? Yeah, so not officially, because if the gap was 40 before, you've made a gap of, well, have you made a gap of 10 points? 20? Yes, you have. Yes, you won.
Yeah, so 37, I think, was the gap before heading into this race. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not good at math, but I'll take your word for it, Joe. So, yeah, GG on the title, it seems, Justin. I mean, we've yet to clarify that, but it seems like, yeah, you've got it sewn up. Constructors, however, Red Bull were P2 heading into this one. Is that something you're even thinking about it at this point, the constructors?
Probably not, just simply because I'm the only one kind of driving the Constructors' Championship. No hate to my teammate, but he hasn't been racing often, so yeah. But like you said, the drivers, I don't think I have one yet because there's still 3 more races, right? So there's still
Yeah, there's
75.
Oh,
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always thought
and
there was two. Okay.
no, yeah, no, I wish, but
So
Qatar
you
being
still
next
might
week,
lose.
it's yeah, we
Don't
Wow.
with
crash.
Qatar next, I'm not looking
Why'd you say
forward.
that so enthusiastically, though, Joel?
No, I mean,
He wants drama.
if he crashes 2 races in a row, McKender wins them both, then we'll
That's
have
true.
drama in the last race. So.
I don't want that though, but yeah. It might happen in Qatar though. Jeez, Qatar is my worst track by far. It's yeah, I have no pace in Qatar. Genuinely, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't understand the track at all. So if I do even get points next week, like that's how bad it is. If I even get points next week, I think I'll be happy. Um, but yeah, who knows? I might be up there with the G29.
We won't need your brake
Well,
pedal.
Huh?
You won't need
that's
your
true,
brake
actually.
pedal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
So, McKenna, if you're listening, there you are. There's your chance next week. Maximum points. Although McKenna has been trolling a lot this season, not qualifying and going for very odd strategies. So, um, yeah, I mean, like I say, it looks like you've sewn it up, but anything can happen, as Joel has pointed out. But we have to say today, you did it. You hit all the marks that you're supposed to, and take away full points. I'm not sure about the fast slap though, but I think
No,
you
I
missed out on that
tried,
today.
but it was
But
like a second and a half quicker.
yeah, but the main thing is the top step was achieved once again, and one more to add to the many wins you've had this season, Justin. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of nice things to say about you sometime soon.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, we will look forward to the remaining 3 races this season and see how you get on there. But thanks again for joining us in the commentators booth, and we'll speak to you soon, I'm sure.
No worries. Bye bye.
All right, bye. There we go, Joel. It's done. Japan in the bag. A nice race. Wasn't the usual explosive race we are used to in Tier 1, but yeah, something different. Interesting nonetheless. But yeah, looking forward to Qatar next week. Seems to be a real favorite amongst the drivers, especially the TT merchants. So we'll look forward to that next week.
Yes. See you then on Wednesday first for Tier 2. As usual, make sure you check out everything else we're doing, the Twitter and the Instagram and TikTok and all of that malarkey. And make sure you subscribe and leave a like. We will see you next week. Goodbye.